Hello. So this is another post commentary video, and in this video I just practice 3D shapes, and then at the end I draw my hand and try and do some cubes together, because in this one I decided to go out of my comfort zone and not really get used to the shapes and try and do 3D vision more by combining the 3D objects. They're not the best, and I don't know how to learn from them, but I am happy to have at least done it, like the rest of the videos I've said, which has gotten repetitive at this point. But it is really nice to do, and I am happy that I can look back on this. And so I might as well talk about a different topic during this. And I'm not sure how to really do 3D vision to study from it, but I am taking notes or mental visions, and I think that if I do push myself through this ordeal of drawing 3D shapes, drawing something a little more complicated, drawing stuff for fun, that I will eventually improve my observation, and that's how I'll study 3D vision. I think that's how art really works compared to a lot of different other creative ways to learn. But they all have the same thing, as well as many different skills that are not creative into the minds of something like arts, writing, directing, baking, cooking, but they still need a lot of work and effort into it, and you can still use your creativity and your mind to hone it and improve on it, while also learning how it works, like with many different sports or with hard labor jobs like construction. I'm not sure how I'm rambling, but that's how it kind of feels for me with arts, like sketching, painting, drawing, that arts, not the, well, it also applies to mediums of art where things are seen as art or things are made as art, like the video game Eco, for example. But I mean specifically that's how I learn art, as weird as this ramble is. And earlier in the video you could see that I forgot today's date was the 12th, which is also the day that Buzz Lightyear just came out. So that's fun. And I've also done a practice phase there, as weird as it is, and I've tried to study a 3D sphere, but I still don't know how to do it. But I'm at least happy that I at least have those. And for a different topic outside of the hand that'll come later, I want to talk more about my game, my passion projects game. Like I've said before, I've always wanted to make it since middle school, and it's been on my brainstorming phase since I literally thought of it. And it was originally going to be an RPG, because I really liked RPGs, but the more I looked into it, the more I felt that the RPGs did not really work. Or at least it did work, but it ended up being something where I did not really know what makes an RPG work, and I still don't know what makes an RPG work and what it doesn't make it work. So as much as I want to make it an RPG, I am still studying how RPGs work. I'm not going to really make that into an RPG, though I might try and make a different game similar in premise that is an RPG to this, because a few years back, I think around like 3 years, I remembered thinking of lots of Metroidvanias and platformers, and I was like, what if I made it so that this game had you going deeper into this weird sort of place, and you can only really hold forward, or in this case, right on the screen. And I was like, wait, this is actually fun. And I started imagining it, and I was just overwhelmed by how much difference that difficulty is going to be. Because that is just going to be very, very, very fun already. I'm just imagining it again as this commentary gets more off. So the game I've said is a runner now, but I want to make it a controlled runner and not an endless runner or auto runner, where you control the cat and you go through this place, and you go deeper through it as you travel. So you're like traveling through a cave and going to the other side of it. And then you meet lots of different characters, and and then something that I really love is having the characters appear, disappear, and then reappear again, and then they'll have their own stories going on as a major focus, but the major focus is like the background. It's a really weird way I'm saying it, and very geeky, but I really, 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 really like this idea. It's so fun, and I really can't wait to learn all of these skills that I need to learn in order to make this game that I want. And another reason why I ended up making it a runner instead of an RPG was also because I just did not know what in the world to do with the player character, because the player character is just a cat, and I was just unable to think of a moveset or archetype for the character. So I'm not sure when I'll revisit the idea of a random goofy animal just being the main playable character of an RPG, because I always found it really fun of an idea, but I've just never been able to get it down, because I don't want it to be very magical or fantasy-like, even if what I've described is already fantasy-like or supernatural, because I really want to make the animal act like an animal. And that's one of the biggest problems that I've had with the player character that I've thought up of, outside of naming them, which I think I've gone through 4 different names for the main character, and I'm still not sure if the main character should even have a name. And I want them to at least be like, oh hey, what is this? Why is there a random animal right here in the game? And why are they doing so much stuff without all this super magical stuff, even if the setting is like that? I wanted to make it more around like Stray, because that's something I've always had a problem with, and I was like, how do I do it? And then when Stray came out, I was really upset over cat game coming out, but that is now gone, and I am very, very still embarrassed that I was very jealous over a game coming out and being planned. And I really like that the player character is literally just a cat, and that you play as a cat, and that you are basically the transport for this drone or robot. I have not played the game, but I have read a little bit of a synopsis over it, and watching footage of the game, the cat acts like a cat, and I really like that. And there's more games too that also have cats that feel like cats, like what's it called? I'll show the game on screen right now because I'm already losing my train of thought, and I'm just surprised about that. There's so many different niches of video games that just have a specific audience towards them, and it's really cool. And even movies and shows have that too. But that's one thing that I really wanted to get right with it, because there's other games too that have the character feel like both, which is both human and what they are supposed to be, which I'm surprised about. Like Tales of a Street Cat, I think that's what it's called. I was really surprised by how much I liked it. It was so simple with its storytelling, and then I was actually surprised that I was invested into the kitten, because it felt like I was actually watching over this random kid, and I was like, oh no, I need to get this character that I'm playing as help right now, because the gameplay of that game is really frustrating, and one of the endings absolutely surprised me, because I did not expect them to actually do a topic like that. So I do recommend watching A Street Cat's Tale, and if you do want to play it, then I can recommend it if you can stomach the kind of mediocre, bland gameplay with it. It's very simple, it's cheap, but my main problem with it is definitely the gameplay, where it feels a bit too hard, and it's also, which makes sense because you're playing as a kitten, but also it doesn't really feel engaging. It's not supposed to be fun, but I don't find it engaging in the sense of, oh, you need to have this to survive, or this kitten to survive, because the game treats the kitten character that you play as like something that you are watching, which is pretty cool. And I have no idea what else to say with it, so I might as well continue back onto the game I was making, which I was sidetracked away from. But the game went through so many different phases too in terms of story. I did not know whether to have a main antagonist or not, and I always felt like certain things were missing. Once I cover a devlog over it, I'll go into more detail about how confused and how I was and am with it, and how much I've been struggling with the game, but it is fun, and I am really excited to at least keep it in my head, as much as it changed a lot, which is why I should have written it down instead of keeping it in my head. I still have all the ideas in my head, but it's basically pushed way back for all the new ideas, like the running genre, for example. Speaking of which, the genre I wanted to make it a runner, but not an endless runner or auto runner, but just a runner where you hold in the direction you have to go, and you platform and try to avoid obstacles. That's basically it. And I got really invested into making this idea happen when I learned that runner games were actually a genre, like with Bit Trip or with geez, I can't remember the names, and they're already blanking on me now. But like Bit Trip is a big example of an auto run or endless runner that's really great. And I am not a fan of Super Mario Run, which is also a running game, but yeah. Another running game is actually Run. Yeah, Run is literally a running game too, because you're just endlessly running, or running until the end of a level, which I also really like. And I was really inspired by Metroidvanias, and I was like, what if I made a runner or platformer, and the style of navigation is sort of like a linear Metroidvania, because with Metroidvania you kind of go all over the place and map, and there's a lot of stuff, and I'm not sure how else to describe it. I know I'm definitely messing up the description of a Metroidvania, but that's how I personally describe it. There are these hard games where you collect stuff, backtrack, and do a lot of these things, except with the game that I wanted to do, you are traveling very narrowly. You're traveling in just one direction, and that is to the right of the screen. And I like that sort of thing because it's really fun, and I think it also fits how a cat can act too. I'm not really sure about that though, but that's how I feel about it. And I was like, what if I tried to make something that feels somewhat like a Metroidvania, but it's actually linear, which is a really bad idea that comes off as trying to be quirky. I'm not trying to be quirky, I just thought that it was really fun, and I really wanted to try doing that. And I also took inspirations from other games where you're kind of traveling all over the place too. So because it takes two settings. You have this weird other world thing where you're moving only right, and then you have reality, or the normal place, like Earth, and you just go around and interact with objects, NPCs, and I want to really hint at which sort of things that you meet in this place are related to the NPCs you meet, and I hope that I can make their stories engaging and interesting instead of boring or annoying, because it's really fun. There's been so many different characters I've thought of, and I think I've narrowed it down a lot, because I'm still not sure on how long I want the game to be, but I've at least got about 4 or maybe 5 characters set in stone for this. And I have basically nothing else to say for this, so I hope you have a good day, and I hope that you enjoyed my ramble. I had a lot of fun commentating about my game, and also just watching my video and recording of where I'm going through these shapes and trying to make my hand, using my hand as a reference. And I really like that. So have a good day or night, and happy holidays, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next Daily December video.